Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Isabel and I am the Starlight Witch. This is a channel that I've created with the intention of doing readings to guide people. Okay, today we are going to look into the energy of this new moon in Virgo, and this is considered a black moon. That only means that we have four new moons in a whole season instead of the regular three. So it doesn't have any particular astrological meaning, but it does mean that we get an extra opportunity for manifesting and for creating things and for making the changes that we want to implement in the Virgo area of our charts. So this is also going to be a really good one because the next new moon in Virgo is going to be on the same sign. Already in mid September is also going to be an eclipse. And eclipses actually bring a little bit of disruption with them. So this is our opportunity of creating something, sparking that new beginning in the Virgo area of our chart that will not be disrupted by the eclipses of next month. Okay, so I want to start by having a look at the general energy for the next 2 weeks. Okay, and then after that, I want to get very specific and look into the different houses of the zodiac and where does this new moon fall into the chart. So stay tuned for that. You're going to need to know your rising sign. Okay, if you do not know your rising sign, you can always look into your sun sign, but the rising sign will always be a lot more accurate. Okay, that being said, uh, please keep in mind that these are general readings, not made for any specific person, but for the collective. So please take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay? So let's have a look at the general energies of this new moon in Virgo for the next 2 weeks. Okay, so we have three majors. So the next 2 weeks, if we use them well, can be really, really good to help us set the stage. Okay, set the stage for something better. Okay, because we have the Sun card here, which is all about happiness, is all about following our bliss, following our joys, following the things that bring us happiness, right? But it also exposes things, it brings things to light. So the energy here is of realization. The energy is for us to finally see the things that we need to shed, whether they be um, whether they be physical things, people in our lives, um, behaviors, beliefs, patterns, especially because this new moon is in Virgo, and Virgo is, in general terms, the ruler of the sixth house, and the sixth house is the house of health, of work, of daily routines, of what we do every day in our lives. This is a moment to really make very necessary changes to course correct. Okay, we are being called here to make very necessary changes. We need to let things go here. Okay, it's all for our benefit, it's all for our happiness, it's all for our betterment, both in personal and collective levels. We are getting a call that we cannot ignore. We need to follow those urges, we need to follow those instincts, we need to listen to ourselves and finally shed some layers. Okay, we need to shed beliefs, we need to shed behaviors, patterns, ways of thinking, everything that is getting in the way of our happiness. These 2 weeks are going to be absolutely fantastic for making those changes. We start to realize the sun brings to light all the things that we need to change. We start to realize that those changes are unavoidable, that they are needed, they are completely necessary. Without them, we cannot move forward. And so we let them go. Okay, we shed those parts of ourselves. We shed those behaviors, those patterns, those things. It's time to let them go. Okay, this is the general energy of what this new moon brings, and I'm pretty sure that these will be exalted in the next new moon in Virgo as well, with the eclipses that might bring disruption. So, this is the best time to start making those changes, um, to start taking those steps by ourselves without the chaos that the eclipses will bring. Okay, this is the time for us to start working on these things before the universe kicks us in that direction, if you know what I mean. So please keep this in mind and use these next 2 weeks wisely. Okay? It's time to make very necessary and drastic changes in our lives. All of these cards are majors. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, and it is going to be important for us going forward. Okay, so now I would like to take a look at where this new moon will be affecting us a little bit more specifically. Because, yes, it's a new moon, so it's new beginnings, it's setting intentions, it's all the good stuff, right? But where these changes are necessary or best implemented is going to change for each of us depending on where this moon falls in our charts. Okay, and this is the moment where you need to know your rising sign. If you do not know your rising sign, you can go with your sun sign, but all you need is to know your date, place, and time of birth. Okay, there are many websites like astro.com where you can check your rising sign if you have this information, and it could be completely free. All right, so let's have a little look at the different houses, the different areas where these new beginnings can take place for people. Okay, so if you are an Aries rising, this moon it's going to fall on your sixth house. This is the house of daily routines, of work, of service, and of health. Okay, because we spend so much time at work, this is usually considered one of the themes of the sixth house, but this also has to do with daily routines, everything that you do daily in your life, small or big, and it has to do with your health. Okay, so if you are an Aries rising, then these will be the main themes of this new moon for you. So, this is a good opportunity for you to set intentions and start creating new routines in this area of your life. Maybe you've been through a lot lately because you have the Tower and you have the Ten of Swords. So things could not have been easy for you lately. There might have been a lot of changes that have disrupted not just your peace, but the way that you see yourself, even. And maybe even some health issues. Okay, considering that this is your sixth house, these could be some health issues, it could be some work issues. Maybe you have been made redundant at work, maybe um, your workplace is experiencing a number of changes that were completely unexpected, at least for most people. And there is definitely a disruption here. There is a big, very big disruption on something important in your life. Okay, but it's also important to know that the worst is now over. Okay, the worst part is if it's not over yet, it's about to be over. And whatever happened here, maybe at work or maybe with your health or anything around those themes, you need to know that it doesn't really diminish your worth. Okay, this is not a reflection on you personally, but rather just one of those things that happen. Okay, I'm not a big believer on the whole everything happens for a reason type of thing, because sometimes bad things just happen. Okay, bad things happen to everyone for no reason in particular, and whatever happened here that is causing great disruption into your life, into your work, or with your health, or anything that is disrupting your day-to-day life and bringing you a lot of pain and a lot of worry and just all sorts of disruption, right, does not reflect your worth. Okay, so over the next 2 weeks, it's important that you work on building your self esteem, on building yourself up. This cannot be easy. It definitely cannot be easy, but the worst part is now over. If whatever happened here, if whatever this is talking about has not happened yet, then this new moon will give you the opportunity of really making those changes, okay? Maybe it is you who needs to enact those changes, okay? Those changes could be ending, like I said, beliefs, okay? Limiting or damaging beliefs. It could be eliminating bad habits that are really taking a toll on your health, whether that be physical health or mental health, or it could be a behavior, ideas, or conflicts that are bringing you a lot of issues at work. But this is the opportunity to put an end to it. Okay, this is the opportunity to really deal with this problem from the root cause. Okay, because when the tower comes down, it cannot be rebuilt again in the same place. It needs to be moved to another place with better foundations. Okay, so this is dealing with the problem from the root cause. Okay, this is not going to be something easy, but this is a good opportunity to do it. Okay, endings are necessary here. And enacting all of these things is going to be a lot of work, but if it is necessary for you to build your self love, your self esteem, and just a better life for yourself in general, then this is worth the work. This is worth the trouble. This is worth everything that you need to do. Let's get some advice here. we have growth, overcoming limitations. Okay, so this is telling me that there is definitely limiting beliefs in here, that there is definitely um, unhelpful thought patterns and things that are just not working for you anymore. They really aren't. And it's time to get rid of them for good. And then you have breathe, inhale, exhale, create a space within. So, of course, enacting these changes is going to cause a lot of disruption. And it is very important that you take time for yourself, that you take time and give yourself a space to feel all the feelings, okay? Because endings and disruptions and changes in general are hard to deal with. Okay, they bring up a lot of emotions. Maybe it requires a lot more effort than you feel like you can give at this moment. Or maybe you realize that you need to let go of some things that you didn't want to let go of. Or maybe you are frustrated because making these changes is not as easy as it seems. It's hard work. It's hard work to really change your your behaviors, your thought patterns, and your beliefs, your core beliefs. It's really hard to be nicer to yourself when you're talking to yourself. It is really hard to be disciplined because maybe these things that you need to get rid of are actually unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? We all have those. We all have these things that brought us comfort during difficult situations, but they're not necessarily healthy, you know. And once we move to a different season of our lives, they become unnecessary. But we are used to them bringing us comfort. We are used to them making us feel better, even if only momentarily. They make us feel safe. They make us feel just better, even if it's momentarily, right? So letting go of these things, especially when they have brought you safety in the past, can feel very counterintuitive, right? It can feel very wrong. So you need to give yourself time to process all of these emotions and to get back up whenever you fall down, because it is necessary to do this work, and it is the step that you need to take for growth. Okay, whatever that you want to build, whatever that you want to achieve in your life, in your work, or with your health, this is where you need to put in the work. Okay, so one last piece of advice. Let's see what you need to surrender or surrender to at this time to help yourself in this new beginning and making the necessary changes. Okay, so we have surrender to what is. Flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. What this is telling me is that you need to let go of denial, okay? Maybe you've held to these ideas, to these behaviors, to these beliefs because you thought that you'd be able to change a situation or a person or whatever this is at some point in the future, right? And perhaps you ended up in this place, perhaps you ended up needing that tower moment, needing that painful ending with the Ten of Swords because you've held on to something that you cannot change, right? So this is telling me that you need to accept that you cannot change this thing, this situation, perhaps the people at your workplace, or perhaps you are encountering a situation in your health that is not going to go away. Perhaps you've been diagnosed with a chronic disease or something that's probably going to stay with you for a long time. So, this is telling me that you need to accept that you cannot change some parts of your current situation. So, the changes that you need to make here need to revolve around what you need. If you keep in mind that you cannot change that core issue, that core problem. If you've ever heard that prayer that was doing the rounds a few years ago, it went something along the lines of um, grant me the strength to accept what I cannot change, or to change what I cannot accept, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is what I'm sensing in this situation. You need to discern what are the things that you cannot change and make the necessary adjustments, the necessary changes for those things that you cannot accept. Okay, so you need to stop thinking that you can change something or someone in your work or your daily routines, your health situation, perhaps, and start working with it or working around it, or just simply completely taking it out of your life. Okay, let's not forget the Tower, let's not forget the Ten of Swords. There is an ending here, a painful ending. Maybe you need to accept that your health is not what it used to be and that it will never be the same. Or perhaps that you need to change jobs, go to a different workplace. Maybe you want to change careers completely, right? But whatever this is, if you've been thinking that maybe you need to stay in that workplace because something is going to change at some point, I think it's time to accept that it won't. Okay, so with this in mind, with this new awareness, with the acceptance of the current situation, what are the changes that you need to make for yourself? Okay, to be the person that you want to be, to take better care of yourself, or to live the life that you want to live. This is the theme for you for this new moon in Virgo. Even though the energy of setting intentions and taking those first steps is going to be the strongest over the next 2 weeks, every new moon opens up a portal of about 6 months that ends with the full moon in the same sign. So, whatever you start right now is going to bring about a lot of change over the next 6 months. So, in that full moon in Virgo, where do you want to find yourself? This is the question that you need to ask yourself and make the necessary changes. Okay, if you are a Taurus rising or a Taurus sun, in case you don't know your rising, this new moon in Virgo falls in your fifth house, which is the house of fun, hobbies, and creativity. So let's see what new beginning can be starting into your life to bring a lot more fun over the next 2 weeks. Oops, and over the next 6 months. I'm getting the sense here that you might be trying to make a hobby, a creative endeavor, or something very profitable. Okay, you might be wanting to start a new business. You may want to start a side hustle. You may want to turn a passion of yours into something profitable. Okay, so maybe this is something that you have been considering for a little while. The moon tells me that this is a good time for you to maybe face your fears. It might be very scary to start on this new venture. Maybe you have a very stable job that gives you that paycheck at the end of the month, and it feels very scary to actually leave that behind for the sake of starting a new business that you don't know if it's going to be successful, right? So maybe you have been contemplating making this change for a long time. It looks to me like you have every opportunity here to be successful. Okay, you have just about everything in your hands to make it work. The King of Pentacles is a person that not only takes charge, but they take care of their people. They take care that every aspect is provided for. The moon here tells me that there might be a lot of fears around this change. There might be a lot of insecurity. And I mean, we all know, we all know the current state of the world. So making this change is not something that will be easy. But you are thinking about your future, you are thinking about your legacy, you are thinking about what you are leaving behind, perhaps. Maybe you have children and you want to show them that life can be fun and work can be fun, and that they can actually do something with their lives that they are very passionate about. You want to lead by example. You want to show them that this is possible for them. You want to provide for yourself, for your pets, for your family, doing something that you love, something that brings a lot of joy to your life. And this is not a small feat. This is definitely not a small feat. What you need to reflect on here is that maybe you're not so clear about what this new venture could be. Maybe you have a vague idea that you want to do something more fun or creative for your work, but you have no idea how exactly does that look like. So maybe reflection comes in here for you to remember the things that made you happy, perhaps when life was less complicated. I find the older that I get, I find that little me, young me, she knew more about life and everything that I could have ever imagined. The things that she loved are the things that bring me the greatest joy whenever I come back to those things. So maybe you need to reflect on past versions of you, on the things that made you happy and brought you joy when life was not as complicated, right? Maybe you need to think about what you would do with your life if money wasn't an issue. If money wasn't a problem, if it wasn't an obstacle, if it wasn't a block, what would you do with your life? What would bring you the most joy? What would make life worth living? What would be the most fun to do here? Perhaps something that you really need to reflect on. But if you do decide to start taking steps to make this possible, I see here that you have every opportunity, every chance to be successful. So let's get a little bit more advice for you on how to make this happen. Okay, so we have don't stop. A miracle is around the corner. So maybe you've already started doing this. Maybe you've already tried. And perhaps you haven't seen the results that you were expecting, the results that you were wanting, and this is giving you second thoughts, right? This is perhaps bringing you to a place where you don't feel so close anymore, or like this is what you would like to be doing anymore. And this is telling you don't stop, because people usually quit when they are about to get their blessings. They get far enough that they are just almost there. And if you quit now, it's not going to come to your hands. So definitely the advice here is to keep going. Definitely keep going and don't give up. And you also have gratitude. Appreciate present blessings. Maybe you are in the position of starting these side hustle, this second business, this other thing. Maybe you already have enough abundance in your life to be able to make this change, to pivot in this direction without having to worry too much about finances. And this is something that you should definitely not take for granted. Okay? This is something to appreciate. Maybe you have a great source of support, perhaps someone older in your family, or maybe you have a mentor, someone that's willing to show you the ropes or to help you get started. And whatever it is, look at the situation with fresh eyes and take the time to appreciate the little blessings. Find joy in the glimmers. You know what triggers are? Where glimmers are the opposite, are those little things that randomly bring us joy for whatever reason. Instead of giving us that awful sensation that a trigger is, a glimmer brings us joy, it brings us happiness, and especially it brings us hope. So hold on to those little things. Look around and find the beauty in everything and hold on to those little things, especially when you need strength and motivation to keep going. Hold on to your blessings and you'll find the strength that you need to keep going in there. Surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories that you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. I mean, if that isn't if that doesn't summarize what I've been telling you so far, I don't know what is. Okay, with the moon card over here, we do have fears that you may have been battling. Okay, we have insecurities, and maybe the mountain seems a lot bigger and a lot more unsurmountable than it really is. I can see here with the Ten of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles and the Gratitude card and your miracle around the corner that you have everything that you need to succeed. If you play your cards well, in 6 months, you could find yourself in a completely different place than where you are right now. And because this moon falls into your fifth house of fun, hobbies, and creativity, I can see life being a lot more fun than it has been so far. This is a great opportunity to bring joy into your everyday life and into your work and into every aspect of your life, really. Okay, but you need to keep going. You need to find your glimmers and you need to surrender fear. The energy of this new beginning is going to be the strongest in the next 2 weeks. But every new moon opens up a cycle of 6 months that closes on the full moon on the same sign. So make your plans, plant your seeds, set your intentions, and take those baby steps right now. And in 6 months, around the full moon in Virgo, then you can reflect on all the changes, because if you do enact these changes, if you do take the baby steps towards those new beginnings, you are going to find yourself in a completely different place in 6 months. So I can't wait to hear from you, and I definitely wish you all the best. Hello, Gemini Rising, or Gemini Sun if you don't know your rising. This new moon in Virgo falls into your fourth house, family, roots, and foundation. Okay, so let's see what new beginnings are opening up for you in this area of your life. Okay, with the Six of Cups here, especially in your house of home and family, your roots, I'm getting the sense that you might be homesick. Whether that be that you packed your bags and moved to a different country, or that you were missing the good old days. Maybe you're missing your parents, your siblings, your cousins, your grandparents. There is a sense of nostalgia here. But with the King of Swords, especially, but also the Page of Wands, I'm getting the sense here that you must not give in to that nostalgia. Whatever that you need to do for yourself is going to require a certain disconnection from those emotions, is going to require for you to stay sharp, to stay present, and to make your decisions from your mind and not just from your heart. Whatever it is that you are undertaking, those new beginnings for you, you need to go down the road of something that you love rather than going back to what used to be. It's okay to reflect on the past, to think on the past, perhaps even to incorporate the best things about those times and about those places and those people into what you want to build in your future. But with a Page of Wands, I'm getting the sense that you're going in a completely different direction. And that is going to require for you not to let those feelings, that nostalgia, that homesickness to overwhelm you. Of course, you need to make space to feel your feelings. You need to make space for remembrance and for reminiscence. You know, we all have those moments. We all do that. And as an immigrant myself, I know exactly how it feels sometimes. There are days when you just want to pack your bags and go home again, you know? Days when you are feeling like you're missing out. They are going on about their lives without you, and sometimes you question if where you are or where you're going is the right thing for you. And it's okay to reflect on those things. It's okay to have that self-awareness. But it's also important to not let that nostalgia, that homesickness to make your decisions for you. Because the fourth house is the house of home, of where you set roots, of where you live as well, your home. It might be that you are looking to move houses. Maybe you're even considering going to a different country, a different state, a different continent, even a different city at the very least. This is telling me that you need to make those decisions from your brain and what you want in your future rather than your heart, your homesickness, and nostalgia. Okay? You need to be very, very smart about your decisions and make sure that you take into account your feelings, of course, but don't let them overwhelm you. Don't let them be the ones that make your decisions for you. Okay? So let's see some advice on how to go about this new beginning. Okay, so we have action, awaken the warrior within, and peace, harmony, and contentment. Okay, so yes, with the card of action, I get here that possibly you might be looking into relocating or at least moving houses. And like I said before, the Page of Wands gives me the sense, the idea that you want to go in a new direction. Okay, your heart is taking you to a different place. And with the card of action here present, it definitely says it's the right time to make those changes. It's the right time to take action. It is the right time to take the steps to do whatever it is that you want to do, to start going down that road. Okay? So the fact that it says awaken the warrior within definitely says to me that this won't be easy. Okay, whatever it is that you are attempting here is not going to be easy, and you are definitely going to need some fighting spirit here to go through it. Okay, the ones as well is the suit of passion, the suit of action, the suit of the warrior spirit. So definitely hold on to that. And I like that we have peace here as well with harmony and contentment, because that might be the feeling behind the change that you want to make, right? Perhaps you're trying to find a place where to set roots, where to have your family, where you feel harmonious and content. And maybe that's what you miss about home, about your childhood, about whatever it is that you are reflecting on. So make peace with the past without literally going back to it. I do feel that being smart about your decisions with the King of Swords here is definitely what is going to bring you that peace. If you let yourself be overwhelmed by nostalgia, you might come to regret the decisions that you make. So definitely take action, but be very, very smart when you make your decisions. Surrender to the beauty of the natural world. Take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and the ecstasy there. With this Page of Wands here, are you planning like going backpacking or something? Or maybe moving to a more rural area? Because, yeah, these card of the beauty of the natural world, maybe you're leaving the city behind. Maybe you want to go to a place where you can be more in touch with nature. Maybe that is what you are missing. If you were growing up in a place that was more in the countryside rather than in a big city, you might be contemplating moving back to an area like this, leaving the big city behind for a more peaceful life. Okay, I can see this. Just be smart about your decisions, but I can definitely see this. I think it's beautiful. Just remember your whys. Why are you making these changes? Why are you making these changes? If you need to bring some peace of mind to regulate your emotions during these changes, definitely go to a park or whatever areas you have surrounding you and be in nature for a little while. These might bring you the peace that you need during these times of change. And if you are thinking of moving to the countryside or to a more um, rural area instead of a big city, then this is definitely a sign that says yes, this is exactly what you need. Please remember to take what resonates and leave out the rest, okay? Even though this energy of new beginnings and setting intentions and planting your seeds for change is going to be the strongest over the next 2 weeks, every new moon opens up a portal of about 6 months that is going to last until the full moon on the same sign. Whatever that you start right now, you're gonna see it come to fruition in 6 months, and be smart about those decisions so in 6 months you are not regretting them, okay? Remember the King of Swords here, okay? Right in the middle. The King of Swords is right in the middle between that nostalgia and your new beginning. So remember that. Be smart about your decisions. And in 6 months, you'll find yourself in a really good place at your home. If you are a Cancer rising or a Cancer sun, in case that you don't know your rising, this new moon in Virgo falls in your third house. This is the house of communication, transportation, your local community. It is also the house that reflects your siblings. So let's have a little look at what is the theme of the new beginning that you can start in this area of your life. It's all the pentacles for you here. So this is about either financial matters or things that are very set in the material world, manifestation, things that you want to bring to life into the material world. I love that we have adventure as the key word, basically. And this is something that you might have already started. Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles here, which is all about progress, right? So part of the work has already been done, but there is still a long way to go. And this is the moment where you start having a look at the progress that you've made so far and deciding whether or not you need to make adjustments, right? Do you need to make any changes? Do you need to adjust course or methods or anything a little bit in order to get to where you want to be? This is definitely something that is taking a little bit of time. With the Knight of Pentacles, this is a slow but steady progress. Okay, so this is not something that is going to happen quickly, but you will definitely get there. The Four of Pentacles is also telling me that you need to gather some resources. Okay, there are things that you need to gather, that you need to collect before you are able to move forward. This is the house of communication, so this might be about social media. Okay, maybe this is a project that you are starting in social media. If you have a social media platform, this might be related to that platform, or this might be a project that you are taking with your local community, or maybe this is about getting a new mode of transportation. Okay, so maybe you want to buy a car. Sorry, I'm gonna shift things a little bit. Yeah, so maybe you want to buy a car, or maybe you want to take a trip. But this is something that is taking time. And even though this is not exactly the very beginning of this project, this is the moment when you adjust the course. So there is a pretty good chance that the approach that you've had so far requires certain adjustments, and of course, a gathering of resources here. So use this new moon to do that assessment, okay, to see where you're at and how far you've come, how far you still need. You still have to go to get where you want to get. So this is the moment where you make the necessary adjustments. This is the moment where you start gathering the resources that you need and just keep going, okay? You just need to keep going and you will get there. Maybe you've been saving for a car, maybe you've been saving for a trip. It might be a family trip because also, this is also the house of siblings, local community, so it might involve your chosen family. But let's find some advice. Flow. See where it takes you. And I love that we have flow here with adventure because these might take you like the adjustments that you need to make in order to get to your goals might take you through routes, through places that you did not expect to be in. So this is telling you, okay, so even if what you need to do is a little bit unusual, go with it because this is exactly what you need. See where it takes you. And we also have a new beginning. Have courage to open a new door. Yeah, so maybe the adjustments that you need to make in order to get where you need to take are definitely going to take you on a new route. This is probably going to take an unexpected turn, and this is telling you be brave enough to go with it. Okay, this is telling you, okay, this is not what you planned, not what you thought, what you were expecting, but this is exactly where you need to go. This is exactly where you need to be. So go with it. Go with the flow. Have the courage to take that unexpected step, to go through that unexpected door. Maybe your travel is going to be to a place that wasn't what you originally planned, or the car, the transportation that you are looking to buy is going to be a different model, a different thing altogether. Surrender the habit of people pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. Okay, maybe you have been focused too much on what other people wanted, what other people needed, what would have been better for others. Maybe the car that you were looking into buying, for example, is not exactly the one that you wanted yourself, but one that other people told you, okay, you should get this thing, or this is what we can pay, or but whatever it is definitely not what you wanted. And this is where the adjustment comes in. You go from doing everything to please some people to do the thing that you originally wanted to do for yourself. Okay? So, whatever decisions you have to make along the way, be sure not only to communicate what it is that you need, but also to go for the thing that you really want. Okay, so make sure that your adjustments here, that whatever change of course, whatever the flow takes you is not to please others, but it is what you want to do for yourself. This adventure is definitely going to be worthwhile. I love it. Okay. Please remember that all new moons basically have the strongest energy to plant the seeds to set intentions over the next 2 weeks, but they really actually open a door of 6 months that is going to come to a close with a full moon on the same sign. So, even if this is going to take time because you have here the Knight of Pentacles, so this is not going to happen overnight, this is not going to manifest quickly. This manifestation that you're bringing into life, or that thing, that material thing that you want to buy, that you want to create, this thing that you want to do here, may not come about quickly, but it is coming. It is coming. So definitely keep going and be patient, because you're also going to need the patience and you're going to need the resilience with this Knight of Cups. You have 6 months until the full moon in Virgo to bring to life whatever manifestations you're working on. So this is the moment where you start taking those baby steps, and whatever you do right now, you'll see the results in 6 months. If you are a Leo rising or a Leo sun, in case you don't know your rising, this new moon in Virgo falls in your second house of finances, value, and possessions. So let's see what window of opportunity is opening up for you in this area of your life. The first thing is that we have the Empress. The Empress is the raw energy of manifestation. She is the ultimate creatrix. She has within her the power to create all of things. This is a wonderful opportunity to start a new business. Yeah, this is the house of finances. So if you want to start your own business, this is a fantastic time to do so. If you already have one, the Empress is nurturing energy. So this is a wonderful time to spend a lot of to put in a lot of time and effort into your business, and whatever that you put into it, you will definitely get back. It will bring about a lot of fruit, a lot of abundance and prosperity. With the Hanged Man, there is also a need here to change your perspective. And with the Six of Pentacles, it might be that you need to change the position where you've been. So, if you have been very giving with your time, with your resources, with your money, because this is the house of finances, then it is a time for a change of positions here. It is time for you to receive. So, if you need help, if you need resources, if you need something from others, this is a time where you need to start asking for help, where you need to say, okay, I need these, and be open to receive it. You need to change the position where you've been so far. And if you have been the one asking and receiving and getting from others, it is time to start giving back. Okay? We have the word choices here. So it is definitely your choice whether or not you want to change your perspective, whether or not you want to change um, the position where you've been so far. But this new beginning definitely calls for a change in dynamics. Whatever position that you've been, if you've been the giver this time, you need to learn to receive. You need to learn to be the one that gets the help and the resources. Um, you just need to learn to be on the receiving end of things. And if you have been the receiver, then you need to learn to give to others. Okay, but definitely there is a change of perspective. The abundance is there, so you are being asked to make a choice on how you are going to use those resources. You have the resources, so there is definitely a change of dynamic that needs to happen here. With these also being the house of values, which is not just monetary value, but the ethical, the sentimental value, the yeah, just the value that we give to people and things. It is a time to work on yourself, to work on your self value. If you have been down on yourself, then it is definitely time to stop bringing yourself down and building yourself up, okay? It is also time to start putting your money where your mouth is. So it is a time to start supporting causes that you believe in, to give donations, to start getting involved. Yeah, there is definitely a change of dynamic, a change of perception that is needed here. Now let's find some advice on how to bring about these changes. Okay. The card of action, awaken the warrior within. And we also have love, allow it to pour in and out of you. Okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense. So again, we have a card of action here because the Six of Pentacles is a card of action. It says get involved, it says help others or ask for help if you need it, ask for resources if you need them. Whichever side of the equation you are on, this is a card of action. And it is also a card of love. Okay, so this goes back to giving back, okay, to giving in to your community, to your family, to your friends, whatever it is that you feel called to give to a cause that is important to you. This is the time to do so. And definitely you should be taking action on that. Whatever choice you make, you need to act on that. That is definitely the key in here to generate the changes that you really want to bring about. Okay, so don't miss any opportunities to take action, to give back to others, or to ask for what you need if you are in the receiving position. Our last piece of advice here is surrender your addictions. Whether you're addicted to substances, food, people, sex, or overworking, take action to begin to heal the addiction and replace it with healthier alternatives. Okay, so this is going to sound a little harsh, but I feel the need to say things the way that I see them. And these surrender your addictions, I feel like it has a lot to do with the Six of Pentacles. So it might be that the addiction is to spend all the money that you have on yourself, like treating yourself, which we all do. I am very, very guilty of that myself, and I'm not one to say no to this kind of thing. Or maybe the addiction that you have is to feel like a victim or to play a victim and always asking for help from others. Okay, so whichever the position here is, this is definitely a behavior that needs to go out the window. Okay, you are being asked to act differently, to behave differently. That's why we have the hanged man here. Okay, because there is a change of dynamics that needs to happen. Because this is in the house of finances, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this has to do with money, with spending every penny that you have on yourself, or spending every penny that you have on other people. Because there is also those of us who spend pretty much everything on other people. You only buy new things for your children or for your partner or for your parents or for your pets or whatever it may be, but you don't really spend anything on yourself. So, whatever it is that you are doing, in whichever position that you find yourself, this new beginning needs to represent a change in those dynamics, okay? So, whatever it is that you have been doing, flip the coin entirely. And this is the time when you make the choice to start a new story, okay? So, yep, this is my advice for you on this new moon in Virgo. If you are a Virgo rising or a Virgo sun, in case that you don't know your rising sign, this new moon in Virgo falls in your first house. This is the house of the self, your image, your body, and your presence. So let's have a look at the new beginnings and new opportunities that are opening up for you in this area of your life. Well, change is coming. My dear Virgo rising, change is coming. There is a lot of movement here. You have the Eight of Wands and you have the Chariot. Because this is your first house, is the house of self, your body, your image, your presence. The change is all about your self-image. Okay, so you may be thinking of doing not only changes to the way that you look, like getting a new haircut or dyeing your hair a completely different color, something radical here, because there is a lot of movement, a lot of change. You're going forward, but this is also changing the way that you present yourself to the world. I find that it's really important, the mask that we have in here on the Seven of Cups. Like, this character is, I'm not sure if, I mean, we cannot really say if they are taking off or putting on a mask. But the thing is that the way that you present yourself to the world is changing rapidly and changing completely, is going to a completely different direction than what it has been. Yeah, this is definitely a time to explore all the possibilities. With infinity here, we have endless possibilities. All right, so this is your opportunity to be whoever you want to be. You have all the choices here. You have seven different cups with all different things within it. These are all possibilities that are within your reach. So it's all about deciding which way you want to go, because you're going there. The movement is here, the changes, there's willpower with the Chariot. There is a lot of momentum with the Eight of Wands. So there is definitely a desire, a deep desire to change the way that you are perceived, and also the way that you see yourself. Maybe the life that you have been living, the way that you have been living life, is not something that you feel is truly authentic for you. Maybe it was at some point, but that has changed and it doesn't feel like you anymore. Maybe it hasn't felt like that for some time, and this is the moment when you choose to be true to yourself. This is the moment where you choose, okay, I'm gonna stop being that person, I'm going to stop living that life, and I'm going to do the thing that feels authentic for me. But there is a desperate need for change, there is a desperate need for movement, there is a desperate need to be more, to do more, and to be true to yourself. So let's get you some advice on how to bring about this change. I'm also getting a sense of duality here. we have the two different steeds of the chariot, and with infinity here, there is no limit. You don't have to choose just the one thing. Maybe what you're doing is opening up to different facets of yourself and allowing yourself to be more than just the one thing. Lesson: wisdom through mistakes. Okay. A stillness, lack of movement. Okay. We got ourselves a little contradiction here, but that's okay. So, I'm going to start with a lesson here. Wisdom through mistakes. That particularly resonates for me with the idea that the person that you have been so far, the life that you have been living, has not felt authentic for you. Okay, I'm getting the sense that whatever you have been doing, whatever you have been um, portraying with yourself, with your image, is not something that feels good for you. Staying in this character, staying in these positions, trying to be that person that everyone else wants you to be has actually been very hard on you. It has been very damaging for you. And it's probably taking a toll on your mental health, perhaps even on your physical health. And you have got to the point where this is just no longer bearable for you. Okay, the pain of staying still has become too much to bear, and it is definitely time to move on. Okay, the stillness is no longer possible. The stillness is no longer where you can be. Okay, so playing this character, living this life has definitely been a hard lesson for you. But if there is beauty in mistakes, like we have here a beautiful vase that has been treated with kintsugi, which is the Japanese technique of fixing broken pottery with gold. And it gives us that idea that our brokenness is beautiful, right? That maybe we feel less worthy because we feel broken, but this definitely shows us that we are not. There is beauty in those lessons. There is beauty in those lessons. There is beauty in the mistakes. There is beauty in all of the things that make you unique, and each of us are a compendium of the lessons that we learned through life. Okay, so don't let the harshness of this part that you have been playing deter you from making the necessary changes for your life. Allow yourself to leave that which feels stagnant. Allow yourself to be your most authentic, most genuine version of yourself. There is definitely a lesson here on self esteem, of learning to accept yourself with all of your quirks, with all of your failures, with everything that makes you uniquely you. This is building yourself up. Okay, we have surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself. Focus on your own strength, attractiveness, and power. And what a beautiful thing it is. So we go back to the idea of authenticity, of being uniquely you. Yeah, this takes me back to the Seven of Cups, to that mask that you have been putting up for others. Maybe this persona that you have been embodying all this time has been who you thought other people wanted you to be. Maybe you were forcing yourself to fit society's standards of beauty rather than your own. Maybe you were forcing yourself to keep an image that was what you thought other people wanted of you, rather than something that made you feel good in your own skin, that made you feel good about yourself, that made you feel like yourself. So, this is definitely the key to be your most authentic self. It's time to stop comparing yourself to other people and stop looking at others as the guidelines. But give yourself the opportunity to be who you really are and to present yourself in your most authentic form. And this will attract to you the right people that are going to stay in your life in the long run. And this is definitely something that you will be able to maintain in the long run, because this is who you really are. This is not a facade that you're putting for others. So, this is for you a new chapter, an invitation to be your most authentic self, to accept yourself, faults and all, your quirks, your lessons, your mistakes, and everything that makes you different, because it's also the thing that makes you unique. It's time to drop all of your masks and just be yourself. You contain the whole universe within you. I really love this for you. I really do. Please remember that even though the most powerful time to plant the seeds and set intentions and start taking these baby steps is during the next 2 weeks, every new moon opens up a chapter of about 6 months that closes with a full moon on the same sign. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself a space, give yourself some time. Even though you have the Eight of Wands here, it doesn't mean that you need to force everything or that you need to do everything immediately, right? Give yourself a little bit of time. Whatever changes you start implementing right now, you will really see the full scope of this new beginning in about 6 months. So give yourself some time and be patient with yourself, okay? So I hope that this brought you something of value. If it did, please like and subscribe. I have a lot more videos like these coming in the near future. And if you'd like to support me as a creator, I have my Coffee link in the description box. It is never expected but always appreciated, and it would mean a lot to me if you'd like to give me a tip. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye!